Top of the fourth inning, Marlins up 3-1 in large part thanks to a Griffin Conine two-run home run. We had Thomas White pop into the booth last half inning, and we're going to hold him hostage for the next half inning or so. If it goes quick,
I'm guarding the door.
We'll see what happens. You can't get out of here.
I actually don't want to mess with this guy.
Thomas White, who this spring he said hit 100.1, swing and a miss from Dane Myers, but he's going to be starting for the Marlins on Friday at 12:10.
Yep,
the spring breakout game, and we're going to have some radio coverage of that one. So the Arsenal, if I was reading correctly, 0-1. I mean, the changeup is a pitch that seems really advanced right now, and the slider, too. You're turning your hand both ways, and we've talked about that a little bit. When did you feel comfortable doing that, fastball, slider, changeup?
It was interesting because I started my career with a big slurve.
Okay.
And then, 6-7 weeks in, we kind of changed it to a bit of a harder slider. And then from there, it kind of turned into a natural sweeper that I've just now kind of just tinkered with a little bit more. And we just took my grip, rotated my hand a little bit at release point, and it just took off sideways. So I've tinkered with it a little bit more, and I added 2 new pitches, and I'm rocking with 5. So it's been good.
What are the 2 new pitches?
I got a cutter and a 2-seam now.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
How does that affect your fastball?
So far, it hasn't really done much because my fastball is ride-run.
That went a ground ball through the right side of the infield for a base hit. Dane Myers aboard with a leadoff single.
Yeah, so my fastball is ride-run, so the cutter doesn't affect it too bad, and then the 2-seam just gets more run.
Right.
Honestly, I don't care if it sinks or if it rides, as long as it just goes into a lefty and can get him off the heater a little bit. It's just used as like a 2% pitch.
Your demeanor seems like it's one that can handle pressure because it didn't seem like much affects you. Where does that come from? Is it something you work on, or is it something that you're just kind of like a chill guy?
You could say I'm a chill guy. I'm pretty introverted as is, so I try to, and my dad always taught me to, whether you're up by 10 or down by 1, same face, nobody should be able to tell the difference. So just was brought up that way.
Okay.
So Thomas, tell me about, you had an interesting morning, huh? Tell me about the, call, the meeting. What was it this morning?
This morning?
When you heard you were starting.
Oh, yeah.
The spring breakout game.
Well, I literally just learned about it probably 15 minutes ago when I was walking back in. I actually just threw a pitch design out in the backfield, so I was walking in from there, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, you're starting the game again." So, super cool feeling, super happy I get to do it again, and was kind of just out of nowhere. So I was kind of like, "Oh, okay,
nice.
This is good."
That's awesome.
Great. The count, a ball and 2 strikes on Jonah Bride with Myers at first. Marlins up 3-1. You just said you came back from a pitch design session.
I was just about to ask about that because that's not something that we had when I was here.
Right.
It was just go out there and go get them. So
right.
I'll be really interested to hear about what that's, from whatever you can tell us without giving away secrets, like what that's about.
Yeah, so it's essentially
Myers on the move, and Herrera, the catcher, had trouble with the transfer. Dane Myers swipes the bag.
So basically, it's kind of like your normal bullpen, but instead of throwing on like a 6-pack or something like that, we go on the game mound. We have hitters at the plate. We have all the technology set up and pitching coaches behind us, but it's really we're working on our stuff, but there's a hitter in the box who
Gotcha.
Makes it a little bit more game-like.
2-2 hit out to center and pretty deep. Nootbaar working back, shy of the warning track. Lars Nootbaar makes the catch. Dane going to try and test for 3. Throw is offline just a little bit, but he showed off the hose there. Out number 1, but Dane Myers at third base.
Yeah, so we're on the backfields, hitter in the box, but we go into each pitch design with a specific goal in mind on what to work on. Sometimes it's movement, sometimes it's location, but it's basically nothing else matters except what we're working on. So you could be working on the shape, but if you throw it in the dirt, who cares because you're getting that shape, and then we'll work on location later.
The other cool thing about that is there's a hitter in there can give you actual feedback about what he's seeing as well.
Exactly.
Because the numbers can tell you one thing, but if a hitter can pick up maybe something that you're doing within your delivery or release point, he can say, hey, I can kind of see you, I don't know, cuffing the ball when you're throwing your sweeper or whatever.
Exactly, and that's the purpose of it. And so far, all of my stuff I feel like has gotten a little bit sharper and a little more consistent. Whether or not it's directly correlated to starting the pitch designs, I don't know, but it's one thing to, see a pitch do something, but it's another thing to have, like you said, the batter.
Right.
We're talking with Thomas White here, the Marlins' top pitching prospect and one of the top left-handed pitching prospects in all of baseball. There's one man out. Griffin Conine flares one just over the pulled-in infield into shallow right center. He's going to lose a bat, but Griffin Conine has a 2-for-2 day with 3 RBIs. That, an RBI single to make it 4-1 Marlins. here in the top of the 4th inning. Thomas, I'm curious because this is a new staff and a new way to approach spring training. I'm sure 24 spring training and this year's spring training look very different. What are the main differences that you feel like you've benefited from with this new coaching staff really getting their hands on?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, the biggest difference has just been
that one hit out to right center field. Nootbaar and Koperniak back to the track and the wall. Thomas White's
Nice.
good luck.
See ya.
Otto Lopez goes the other way. A 2-run home run to right center. And it's the 3rd home run today for the Marlins.
I guess I'm staying the whole game now, huh?
You're staying the whole
Yes,
game.
you might call some play-by-play.
Yeah, there you go.
You're good. Hey, next time the Marlins go yard, just hop in and do it, man. But Otto Lopez, his first home run of the spring, and it's 6-1 Miami in the top of the 4th. But what has that relationship been like with the new coaching staff and them getting really hands-on this spring?
Yeah, big difference right off the bat is totally different atmosphere. A lot more music, a lot more.
Matt Mervis drives one out to center field. Hard contact a lot, but that one caught for out number 2.
A lot more music, a lot more yelling, a lot more just kind of higher energy and just getting guys fired up and making things more like competition than anything else. Like when I threw the pitch that I hit 100 on, the AAA pitching coach Rob literally ran around the screen and jumped into my arms. So it was a cool moment for me, and to see somebody else that fired up for me it's really cool, and it's really great to see how invested they are in all of us.
Joe Mack lines one out to center, and that drops in for a base hit. Mack with a hard hit single. We were talking a little bit earlier, AJ and I, about this catching tandem, about Joe Mack, Augustine Ramirez that are making their way through the minor leagues right now. Have you had the opportunity to throw to one of them, both of them, and what is that kind of camaraderie between you, Gus, and Joe look like so far?
Yeah, so I threw to Joe a little bit at the beginning of last year, but he's been tearing it up so much he's a level above me, so I really haven't been able to throw to him much. But he's such a great dude, and I love to see him succeed, and I'm rooting for him all the way. And I haven't even met Augustine yet because I believe he's still over on the big league side, so it's like I haven't even seen him yet.
Yeah, hey, man.
How do you stay patient? Because obviously when you're hitting 101, a lot of people maybe can feel like you can fly through the system, but how do you stay consistent and understand that, and patient to understand there's a process to get there with not trying to get too far ahead of yourself?
Yeah. I think, like you said, it's tough. It's tough to do well and to maybe stay at the same level you were at. But at the same time, you have to realize that not a lot of guys make their debuts until 22, 23. And to be 20 right now and you need to have a specific goal in mind when going out for the year. Like mine this year is to get ahead more, get more strikeouts, and just be in the zone more. So kind of trying to stay within yourself and not trying to think about things you can't control, like what level am I at, or some other things like that. It's just like if you start thinking about that stuff, you're going to lose what you're working on, and everything's going to start to fall apart.
And then the other thing too is like I played with I was a 21st round pick. Played with a lot of first rounders, and they didn't seem to have the same work ethic as the guys down below. You know what I mean? And talk about that, your work ethic, and how maybe you're working like someone who was drafted like the last one, you know, to make sure you optimize your abilities. Yeah,
that's exactly the mindset that I have is, I'm not going to let a single person in this room, in this org, in the league outwork me.
Watch out when you say this room.
That's him.
But, first of all, Marlins made a big investment in me, and I'm not about to, not let them down, but I'm not going to, I'm going to show that it was worth it.
Prove
right?
them right.
Right, exactly. So, I had a lot of people that, not that I want to prove wrong, but I need to prove to myself that I'm as good as I've always thought I could be. And this is my dream, playing professional baseball. So why am I going to give that away by just not working hard enough? And, coming up, I was always thinking, like, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, if I ever look back and I'm like, I could have done this, and this, then you have those kind of regrets. But if you do absolutely everything you can, and for whatever reason it doesn't work out, at least you can say, I gave it absolutely everything I had.
Is that not the best mindset in the world?
That is the best, dude. I mean, I'm telling you, I played with a lot of first-round guys, and they were just happy with the opportunity. They're like, I'm going to get every opportunity because they invested so much in me that it's going to take a lot for me to not make it, you know?
Right.
But you have the complete, different opposite mindset of those guys.
Would rip down the right field line. That's in for a base hit.
And honestly, that's Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You got Mac heading into third base and Xavier Edwards as a 2-out double. There you go.
And that type of mindset is the way that you can maximize your full abilities, right? And you can make sure that you're giving yourself the best opportunity to succeed. And I love to hear that, man. That's
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, no, it's great to learn from guys who are drafted all across the board, just to see, which ones it really matters to and which ones are really going to set themselves apart. And you can see it immediately.
Yes.
All right. Where is Andover, Massachusetts? Is that Boston area?
It's about 25, 30 minutes north.
Okay. Fortes pops one foul out of play right side. So are you living like a dream world right now, living in South Florida, coming from cold weather northeast?
Yeah, compared to up there?
Like, were you cold this morning?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So you're not Floridian yet.
Saw him in his jockstrap out there in the morning.
Oh, man. I could have come to the field today wearing a bathing suit. I felt right at home.
Dude. All right. So are you going back to Boston in the off seasons? Is that how you're doing it?
Yeah, I trained at Boston in the off season, and then I came down in Florida like January 15th.
Cool.
So
1-1 rolled on the ground over to Arenado at third. He tosses on the move, and that ends the inning. We'll let you go. We'll let you get back to it. But Thomas White, again, you're starting the spring breakout game on Friday. Huge congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
job,
much,
man.
man.
Round of
Appreciate it.
applause. We'll be
Thank you.
back for the bottom of the fourth next. Marlins up 6-1 on the Marlins Radio Network.